And we're live. Okay, so just introductions again.
Okay, hey, I'm Jordan Miller from Rice University, assistant professor of bioengineering.
Hi, I'm Gloria Gagola. I'm a hand surgeon at Shriners Hospital for Children.
Hi, I'm Akil. I'm an undergraduate researcher at Rice University. And if you guys would introduce yourselves, that'd be awesome.
Go ahead, Adam.
Hi guys, my name is Adam Carson. Just graduated at Creighton University. I'll be a graduate assistant under Jorge Zuniga, and partnered him, Mark, on our Creighton research team.
Yep, and then I'm Mark Oczykowski. I'm an undergraduate research assistant right now, lab supervisor. Just next year is going to be my senior year here at Creighton University. So.
All right, that's awesome. So yeah, so for the agenda for today is that we're just going to do introductions, and then after we do introductions, we're going to have like a roundtable type discussion where like we all talk about each other's projects, and then like we obtain feedback on what we can do better. So like I guess we'll start.
Talk about for next week. You have the agenda.
Oh yes, and also like for next week, I'm going to post the agenda in advance. So like you guys can edit it with a rough outline of what you guys want to talk about, and so like that way we can make sure that we all hit the points that we want to make, and additionally it's an easy way to take notes on what happened in the meeting. All right?
Okay.
Sounds good.
So, I guess we could start with Mark then. So Mark, do you want to describe what project you're working on, and I guess yeah.
So kind of a main project that, like, I guess I'll speak on Adam's part as well too with this, because it's kind of just like a dual team effort right now. But the main project is taking well, we originally had the Cyborg Beast, which was one of the most popular 3D printed designs for a prosthetic device, and then we were taking that. We originally designed that in Blender mostly, and obviously when you're switching that over to a different platform of design software, they really don't transfer over well because it's an STL and you can't really get an STP file from Blender. So I guess probably over the past couple weeks or so here now, like give or take, we've been redesigning the whole palm. We did that the last 2 weeks or so, and then I posted a update about that on the e-NABLE page on that, and then this week we've been working on the gauntlet, which Adam's going to be posting about that on Friday. So. We're just kind of working on making a parametric version of the Cyber Beast in Fusion 360, and then hopefully here at the end we'll be able to prototype it and test it out a little bit more, and then be able to post it up on there and have the very first full parametric version of a prosthetic device out there.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Is what is the new tool chain you're using, and are you using Andreas's design? Is it based on the Raptor, or is it something else?
No, this is based off strictly off the Cyber Beast. We're not using anything of the Raptor.
Oh, I see.
No parts whatsoever like that. This is straight from the ground up. So this is basically taking taking a very blank page and just creating your own design with it.
Yeah.
Because obviously with all the research that we're doing here at Creighton University, we've seen a lot of feedback of what's good, what's bad with devices, what needs to be changed. And obviously, you know, you only can go so far with one design, then you kind of have to start over from square one again to make those changes and stuff like that. So that's kind of what we've been doing, is obviously starting from square one from a very blank page to now getting to a design and stuff like that. So.
Oh, it looks like we got a new viewer. Hi, Barrett. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Can you hear us now?
Yeah. We can hear you.
So we're a team from Seattle Pacific University, and we're working here over the summer on some stuff, and we just wanted to introduce ourselves and let you guys know what we're doing, what our goals are.
All right.
Do you want to start there?
Well, I'm Sarah, and I'm working on a project to develop a design for a trans-radial 3D printed prosthetic.
Could you speak up a little bit?
Yeah, sorry.
Still hearing you. Yeah, thank you.
I'm Sarah, and I'm working on a design for a trans-radial 3D printed prosthetic.
Okay.
Alright, I'm Justin, and I'll be working on vocational adaptations for different jobs for the attachments to the 3D printed end.
All right.
And I'm Barrett, and I worked on the Falcon hand last year, and this year I'm going to be learning some new software, specifically Autodesk 360, Fusion 360, and so I'm going to try and redesign a flexi hand from the ground up in Fusion as a sort of a training exercise. And then in July, I'm going to head out and work with Paul Fotheringham at 3D Life Prints in Kenya and do some more orthotics and shoe and flexible covers.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, to introduce everyone on our side, you go ahead first.
Okay, sure. Yeah, again, I'm Jordan Miller, Assistant Professor of Bioengineering at Rice.
Hi guys, I'm Gloria Gagola. I'm an orthopedic hand surgeon. I work with kids at Shriners Hospital.
And I'm Akil. I'm an undergraduate researcher working in Jordan's lab. And I guess I'll just briefly describe what my project is. It's making.
I guess we were. I think Mark was also still talking about.
Oh yeah.
What he was working on.
Yeah.
Do you want to go back to that?
Yeah, we can just jump onto that. So guys, just to fill you guys in, like Mark was talking about what he was working on. He's making a parametric version of this cyborg beast model that was developed in Creighton, and he's redesigning that in Fusion. And Mark, if you just want to continue elaborating on what you were talking about.
Yeah, so kind of one of the big things is obviously with all the designs and stuff like that, I guess it's keeping a parametric model, meaning as we scale the hand up and down to fit the recipient for like a full customized version like that, we want to make sure that the holes and stuff like that stay the same size. Specifically because, we're still using Chicago bolts and screws for the most part here because we've seen a drastic change in the friction compared to snap pins and stuff like that. And with those Chicago bolts and screws, if you can keep the hole size the same like that without having to do any drilling, it makes the hand completely, or we think it makes the hand a lot better and functionality-wise on that. So that's why kind of one of the big goals was that when we first designed Cyber Beast here at Creighton University, our team, we signed it all in Blender. Just because one was open source, Fusion 360 wasn't out there yet, and we didn't really have access to Inventor and all that kind of stuff. So too, because of funding and all that kind of stuff. So now that Fusion 360 is out there and we're switching over to that program board, everything we have to do in Blender has to be redone completely from the ground up in Fusion 360. So that's kind of been the process for the past week and a half, 2 weeks, give or take. But it's been a good process because as we had the Cyber Beast, there's a lot of changes that we had to make and stuff like that, just make it more functional. Looking at the biomechanics side of it, the engineering side of it, creating a balance between is it easier to move or is it easier to get grip strength? They're counterintuitive. You can't have both at the same time. Is what we kind of discovered as well too. So you have to create like kind of a balance to figure out which one is more important in your design and kind of saying it can be 50-50 or 70-30% depending on whatever you want to do. So been doing that all in Fusion and then also making a parametric version of that. So last week we gave out a little teaser of some photos and stuff about the Palm. There's still little small changes that are going back and forth with Palm from printing it out and testing out spacing and stuff like that as well too. But as of right now, the Palm is all parametric, meaning that no matter if you scale it from base percentage of 100% to 200%, the holes should be exactly the same. Now the only problem with that is figuring out how to make a slicing software or coding a slicing software so that everyone can download the files and help themselves. So most of that has to be done within the designing software and stuff like that. So it's just another step of figuring that whole thing out. So and Adam can talk a little bit more about that if Adam wants to put a little bit more on stuff like that. If I miss anything.
Yeah, you covered it mostly. I think our whole goal for designing this Palm in Fusion is just to kind of get that more consistent workflow so that if we find changes that need to be made, we can go back in the timeline and make them. Versus when we had the Palm in Blender, it's very difficult once you've made a change. It's difficult to either reverse it or or fix it. So that's really our motive going with this Palm and this Gauntlet in Fusion, and so yeah.
So so you guys are obviously switching to what I understand is that you guys are changing the software that you're using to design it, and by changing the software, you're able to make a more parametric design out of it. So, like, what sort of challenges have you encountered in the process? What are
I
the
mean,
problems right now?
are you talking about for me and Mark?
Yeah.
I mean, the first of which is just kind of learning the software. I mean, it's a lot different from Blender, but I mean, kind of once you get past that, it's I think I find it a lot easier to work with than Blender. It's kind of the whole format of the program is a little more intuitive, and frankly, I think it's a lot easier than our experiences have been with Blender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only other issue that I kind of touched on as well too is that the main issue is you have a file in Blender. Blender is great for modifying STL files for a very, very basic standpoint like that. But in Blender, you can't export STP files and stuff like that that are compatible with in Fusion 360. Obviously, because Blender was originally made as a 2D programming software for graphic design and stuff like that, but Fusion 360 is more of a CAD program, I guess you can call it like that if you want to think like that in that sense. But so going from Blender to Fusion, it would have been great to have the original Cyber Beast files that we've made as a team, and then port them right into Blender and just, or port them right into Fusion 360 and mod them right like that. But that whole part wasn't possible, so we had to do everything from the ground up. So basically taking sketches and boxes and stuff like that and different shapes and modifying it into what looks now like the photo that we posted on the e-NABLE.
Right.
Making the palm of that. So I guess that's kind of the biggest challenge, is making that whole thing like that. So in a way, you're starting at square one again from a design standpoint like that, but at the same time, we have this wealth of research and knowledge here that we know over the many changes we made to Cyber Beast, what to change and implement it into the new Cyber Beast in Fusion 360 and whatnot to implement it and stuff like that to make it the most functional device possible.
Right. So over the next week, like, what are the deliverables that you guys are trying to hit?
Adam, do you want to touch on that because you're working on that mostly, or?
Come again? What was the question?
He was asking what's the plan for this week? Because last week we did the palm, and this week we're doing the gauntlet. I don't think you can touch more on the gauntlet aspect if you wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, we've done quite a bit of work on the palm already. Now we've been just kind of attacking the gauntlet portion of things, which is quite a bit easier than the palm itself. So we're just trying to design the gauntlet, do a few test prints, making sure it's sturdy and stable. But then, yeah, this Friday I'll be posting a few pictures of kind of the work we've been doing and just kind of put it out there for everybody to comment on and see what they like, and or if they see something that needs to be improved, we want to know that as well.
Right, right. And so, like, are there any questions / problems that you're encountering right now that, like, you would like to ask us? If you, I don't know, like, just to see if we can offer some insight.
Let's see. I mean, right now we're just kind of in the designing portion of the project. So I think once we get the pictures out Friday and get some feedback, I think that'll kind of continue the process of improving our gauntlet. But right now, I think me personally, I'm just focused on kind of finishing the design and getting it out there.
Yeah. And then for me is I think the biggest thing for both Adam and I and our research team here, and the biggest thing is just those feedback on the photos and stuff like that. If someone sees something out of the blue, or someone's like, we're trying to post as many photos we can of it, just kind of like basically a full 360 view of it, just kind of showing what the design and everything looks like. So if people see stuff like that, they can comment on it saying, hey, this should be like this or that should be like that, maybe because they have different experiences than what we've gotten for feedback-wise. So I guess just for right now, obviously we're still in the designing phase like that and prototyping phase as well too. As obviously the reason why we took the Palm first was because one, it's the most complex design part of it, and we wanted to fix that and have the rest of the time to kind of make the little small modifications as we go on from it. So if we just got those like a little bit of feedback, that's kind of the main feedback or main thing we can get back from all this right now.
That sounds great. I guess I had kind of a general question. This kind of is for us too because we're also looking at Fusion. The parameterization of the model, is that something that you have to change in the graphical user interface, or is Fusion programmable or scriptable? Do you think that these designs could be integrated with something like the Handomatic online web software, or that's kind of like next generation questions? I don't know the answer to that. I was wondering if you guys do.
Yeah, from what I know, because I've talked to Andres quite a bit about this, and all like that, what I know is that Fusion 360 is going to be scriptable to actually make those parametric versions and stuff like that. Again, it's the reason also why we're doing Fusion 360, one, because it's free, and Adam touched on it as well too, is that the user interface is amazing and easy to work around with. It's a lot simpler than Blender. I think it's a little bit better than SolidWorks as well too, just the functionality and stuff you can do with it. That's just, that's also opinions like that. But since Andres is also, working on script and coding and stuff like that as well too, he's
Great.
He's trying to get into something like a new version of a Handomatic that, those numbers they put in there, you can also keep the parameters and stuff like that of the holes and stuff like that. And, let's say you're making a model and stuff like that, and for an adult that needs a little bit thicker cabling, that instead of the actual channels that we have right now in the Palm, you can increase the size of the channel with that to make a little bit thicker cable or different stuff like that. And just like little small changes and stuff like that. I think that that part is going to be scriptable in the actual parameters like that. But as of right now, from what we know and what's out there right now, the only way to change those parameters is actually through the program. So, but the fact that it's free, it just takes an extra 5 minutes to have the program, open it up, put the file in there, change those parameters, and export the file. So it doesn't take long at all. It's just an extra step to do, but it's a much needed step, if you want a good, concise, customized model.
That's great. All right. So, you guys in the...
Yeah, do you want to ask them each to spend about 5 minutes?
Yeah. So, the Seattle Pacific group, do you guys want to each spend like 5 minutes talking about like your designs in detail, like what you're working on the next week, and what existing problems that you're trying to overcome right now?
Okay, so I just started some Fusion 360 tutorials this week, and I'm going to be working on that as well. I'm also really interested in the parameterization. So I'm going to be doing the flexi hand from the ground up in Fusion 360. Does anyone know what the flexi hand was designed in originally?
I personally don't. I'm curious to know as well.
But I heard that like it was made with the sculpt, like. But the flexi hand is not parametric because it's like sculpted with T-splines and stuff.
Yeah.
I know I spoke to Steve Woods, and he also said that the design was also designed in Blender at some point. So there's components that are in Blender, or components of the flexi hand that were designed in Blender. But overall, I'm not sure if the whole thing was in Blender. But I don't know.
Barrett, did you have any interest in or experience with OpenSCAD? Because we had, last summer we had worked a bit on a parametric OpenSCAD version of the flexi hand. I'm not sure if that would be helpful, or if you'd rather do it Fusion, that's good too.
I am interested in SCAD, and actually Justin here has done a little bit more with it. He was trying to make a hand that has Lego connectors on the outside, and wanted the Lego connectors to maintain their scale. So do you want to talk a little bit about SCAD?
Sure. I'm just learning the program right now. I haven't actually been able to...
Oh, sorry, could you speak up a bit?
Sorry, I'm learning the program right now. It looks like doing the Lego knobs for the hand is fairly easy. It's straightforward. They're just small cylinders. But actually putting the hand into SCAD looks like you have to from the ground up, just like you're doing with Autodesk Fusion. So it'd take a lot more knowledge of the software to do. But it'd be nice if we had files converted already that we could just add the Lego knobs to. I don't know if that exists. Probably not, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so I wonder if we could dig that up. You have to find out where those files are.
You said there's one for the Flexi hand already?
It was an OpenSCAD version of the. It was kind of hybrid between the Flexi hand and the Cyborg Beast, so they were calling it the Flexi Beast.
Oh, okay. Was that on the e-NABLE website? Or?
I think it was. I'm not sure where he ended up posting it, but I think we have the files here too, so I could dig it out and.
That's all I have about that so far. It's really just in the initial stages of that.
I've had a lot of experience with Autodesk Inventor as well as SolidWorks and a tiny bit in Blender, so it seems like 360 is going to be pretty quick to pick up, and I'll be able to get back to you guys at the next hangout with how far I've gotten on the Flexi again.
Yeah. So Justin and Sarah, if you guys want to elaborate on like what you guys are doing next week and what problems you want to overcome.
Well, we just started working on this project about 2 days ago, so we're still really in the initial
Right.
stages of this, exactly what we're doing. So for the past 2 days, I've just been researching other models that are available right now, and both 3D printed and just commercial models, and trying to decide what I need to write in specifications. So that's what I've been doing. And this next week, my partner, who will be working with Maya sensors and trying to make that compatible with my design, will come in and we'll start talking and collaborating on that.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, just like Sarah said, we're starting this week, and for myself, I'm looking for resources such as refugees, and basically anyone. I'm looking for what kind of vocational adaptations we need to make, what people are wanting to be able to do. Such for tools, yeah. So maybe you guys might even have resources or know people who might know what people are wanting. It would be nice if you help me with that, or if you know anybody I can talk to.
So the only vocational thing that I've seen recently was like a spoon that was made for patients with tremors. So basically, like it was like a weighted spoon, and so it would cancel out the tremors that the patients had. But in terms of basically a hand that you could just, plug and play whatever vocational adaptation you want, I don't think I've seen anything on that. I don't know if like Adam, Mark, or Professor Zuniga have seen anything on that either. You guys want to chime in?
So what I plan on doing is, or what the idea was, just to make an adapter that fits to the attachments that will fit to the hand. So like I'm kind of a in-between adapter that fits in between.
If you're, I mean, I'm sure you've already looked at that, but if you're looking for kind of adaptive things that just will click on and click off, just in the conventional prosthetics world, there's catalogs upon catalogs of adaptive terminal devices that will click on and off to your wrist, whatever type of wrist you have on your conventional prosthetic. So, I mean, you can get adaptive devices for every possible thing there is. Chefs have 18 pages of different knives they can click in and out. They've got climbing equipment and sporting equipment. Billions of those.
Yeah.
So that's just a place to start, just to kind of see how you're going to translate that into 3D printable objects. But if you have access to prosthetists in your area, then literally they're catalogs of assistive terminal devices.
Okay.
And Sarah, you said you were researching about transradial devices right now. I found this good resource a while back. It's called the Orthotics and Prosthetics Library.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's been pretty useful because it has like the anatomy and existing designs out there.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that covers what you were talking about. Is there anything else then that you would like to know about us or from us?
I think that's good. I think we have we have a lot of stuff that introducing here. I just want to talk briefly about what I've been working on over here at Rice. Basically my project's been making these small scale changes to the existing Raptor Reloaded hand. Like one thing I'm working on is changing the thumb position of the hand. So currently, like I made like a mock-up right now. This is the existing thumb slot that the Raptor Reloaded has, but I made it so that you have a more like opposable thumb right here. So that's one of the changes that I've been working on this summer. Another one. Yeah.
Hey, Joe, how are you printing that hand out?
So I printed out vertically actually.
Okay.
And the reason for why we need to change the thumb position is that it's difficult to hold on to things because your thumb is constantly out of place when you're trying to hold on. When you're attacking from like a side angle, like the Raptor has, that's not really the optimum way for holding on to things. And so like I've noticed that this new thumb position is improved for a cylindrical grasp especially. So it flexes like that. I don't know if you guys can see it, but yeah.
Have you been able to pick up cups a lot better with it?
Yeah, let's try right now. So this is a water bottle right here. Yeah, there we go.
Live demo, everybody.
Yeah, here we go. And there we go. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
So like with the existing Raptor hand, you'd have kind of had to approach it from a weird angle because this thumb would have gotten in the way. You would have just hit it. And I have one. Yeah. So you notice. Yeah. So this one you can't even pick it up because it's like in the way. See it? You have to approach and try to grip that way. Another design change that I'm working on is making a hand that closes when your wrist is extended upwards. And so the reason for this is that when you're like riding a bike or something, you're not holding on to the handlebars like this. You're holding on with your wrist extended upwards a little bit. And so like I made a physical model for how to like route the wires. So the essential idea is that like you flip the gauntlet around and then you route the wires like along the bottom of the hand. This way, when the wrist is extended upwards, it flexes. It's a better angle. There we go.
So yeah, maybe actually, Gloria, do you want to say something about these design challenges you did?
Right. So it's just more physiologic that way. So if you look, your power grip is in extension, not a huge amount of extension, but with your wrist up, your wrist extended is where your power grip is. So what we're asking these kids to do is to do their biggest power grip with the wrist all the way down. That's how it will close the strongest. And once you're there, one, it's not physiologic. That's not how you hold on to things. But once you're there, you can't do anything with it. You can't put the water bottle down or give it to anybody because it's a very awkward position. You do better with your wrist in a little bit of extension. So that's why we wanted to change the opening and closing mechanism to make it more physiologic. And in the thumb, for the same reason, anatomically, you pinch better, you can pinch things and hold on to spherical objects better. And the thumb is actually facing the other fingers and not coming out at a 90-degree angle.
And the last thing that I've been working on recently, and this is the one that I could use you guys' help on the most, is coming up with like a ratcheting mechanism, so that, well, any mechanism actually that would allow the hand to like lock in a closed position, and then like allow the user to relax their hand, like while the fingers are still closed. So the solution that I thought of would be like a ratcheting mechanism, and obviously the optimum position would be to put the ratchet somewhere on this wrist hinge, so that when the hand is extended, you could just lock it right there, and then the user could just relax their anatomic hand while the printed hand has its fingers closed. But I haven't been able to come up with a quick release mechanism, and I would love to hear what you all have to say about that. Any ideas that you guys may have for that?
Looks like they're going to grab something real quick.
Well, so earlier in the over the school year, we were kind of working on that, and a kid named Sean Russell, who isn't here today, came up with a slider that once you push the slider over, it basically pinches all the control cables, and so it's not active, but I don't know if this will show up on here. This is the cosmetic cover from the Falcon hand, and right here at the top of the arch, that's where all the cables enter. And then if I turn it right, maybe you can see there's a little hole right here.
Yeah.
and there's a bar that slides through there, an arced bar that has all the holes for the control cables in it. And so normally they just slide through, but if you shift the bar over, it pinches each of those holes, and the control cables can't move through anymore. So it locks the grip in that position. And that just flips like a buckle. And then you'd pinch the other side of the buckle here, and it would snap back, and then you could move the hand freely again.
So you needed a second hand to snap it in and snap it out?
Yeah, you have to use a second hand. Yeah.
Did it hold the wires fairly well, or did they tend to slide?
Yeah, it held the wires. It was able to hold weight. I think a water bottle was about the heaviest thing we tried. Maybe even a shopping bag. I think one of our design goals was to be able to hold the shopping bag with it. And so it could carry a decent amount. The biggest problem that we came across was that eventually the plastic the wire would cut through the plastic, and we'd lose that grasp.
So, like, if I'm understanding correctly, you guys had like a slide latch that you pushed out with the other hand, and the latch would close on the wires and crimp them almost?
Yeah, it would crimp them. Yep.
Okay, that's interesting. So in this case, so like you could lock it at any position you wanted with the other hand.
Yeah, you'd move the hand in the position you wanted, the prosthetic, and then use your good hand to lock the fingers in that position. We also had a prototype that used a twist lock as well. I don't know if we still have that, but the slide latch wound up working a lot better than the twist version.
Two things to note about that might be a point of interest to note is that when you're using a slide like that, obviously you guys experience it with your group there, is that one, the cables are going to fray off and the cables will actually break, or the plastic will deform in some way and will actually get too laxative in there, and then the cables won't be able to pinch as much. Also with that, Akil, I know you were also thinking about that you wanted the hand to relax in some aspect. I guess if you wanted the hand to still bend the wrist and still move freely like that, this will lock the cables in a position that the hand is still extended in some sort of degree and only have a couple degree range of motion compared to a full range of motion that I think maybe that you were trying to go at. So if you want a locking mechanism, you saw your way how to lock the hand in a way that you can still move the wrist in full range of motion, but the fingers stay locked in the position. So that might be something to work out with as well too. And then my other point of interest that I was going to ask you before, when you were showing your models, when you're putting it upright, have you done any strength testing? The way how the layers have adhered and stuff like that?
So I haven't done any strength testing specifically, but I mean, like when I'm thinking about the force, it doesn't seem like the force is being exerted against the layers of the plastic itself, right? The force is being all pulled on these tensioning blocks in the back. And so, like, because that's a force that's going, I guess it's not really, I mean, I'm not, advanced mechanical, but it doesn't seem like the force would push and shift the layers in the vertical orientation.
Okay. Yeah, well, I was just thinking, like, if you think of, like, a recipient, obviously, with our hands, it's completely different because we actually have a hand. We can't put in the model unless you make a huge model like that. But if you think of, I guess the one thing that I think about, and I don't know, maybe you guys have tested this out, but with the layers and stuff like that going in the vertical direction instead of a horizontal direction as you print it, so basically meaning like printing the model upright instead of horizontal, it's considered a shearing force, which is one of the weaker forces like that, and I don't know if the model can still hold up to that, if printing capabilities are able to hold up to like that and stuff. I mean, it very well could, but we haven't tested that out enough to say like that. So I mean, it's cool that you're able to test a model like that with those kind of forces and stuff like that. So I guess just keep me updated if you do any strength testing and see how it holds up and stuff like that compared to a regular printed rafter.
Like that sounds, yeah. That's going to be one thing that we should investigate in the near future.
Yeah, the thumb position looks really cool though. Good job.
Awesome, thank you. And it looks like we have a new caller. Like Megan, do you want to introduce yourself? Do you want to talk about like what you've been working on? Hello, Megan.
Your mic is muted.
You left. Okay, never mind. All right. Yeah, like in that case, yeah. So like returning back to this like ratchet mechanism. So like right now, like we have the slide latch mechanism, and then like Mark, you brought up a good point about having like a locking mechanism that you could still move your wrist back and forth, and the fingers would be closed. And so like one idea that I had where you could just have it on one hand, activate it on one hand, is if you had like a side to side motion that would engage or disengage the lock. Do you guys have any like reasons why that wouldn't work, or any inhibitions, or any ideas about that about having like a side locking action?
My question is, how would the side action work with two hinges? Because you have a hinge that's linearly locking, I guess you can say, because you only have, with that hinge right there, you only have 2-degree motions and stuff like that. So doing like a locking hinge, are you thinking about the activation point of it would be on the palm, or where would that activation point be?
So like I don't know if you've seen the Falcon V1, but
Yep.
that has like a side to side motion. Basically, there's another hinge on top of here, and like it's a circular hinge, and so the Falcon hand can just rotate side to side this way.
Right, yep.
And so I guess the most intuitive spot to put the ratchet will be right here. And so I'm assuming you could have like a wire that's attached to like this side to side moving hinge, and then so like when you pull to one side, it'll either pull something out or push something into the side hinges right here.
Would that be spring activated then, or would that be something with like a push and pull cable?
Not quite sure yet. I haven't gotten that far.
Okay.
I have our first Falcon V1 prototype here, and that's this arch, the hand you're talking about. The biggest problem with this is that we get a really weak point right here. That all the force it goes on, the entire load is on this hinge. And we couldn't really figure out a good way around that, other than, I mean, we beefed it up as much as we could, but there's only so much you can do when you still want the freedom of motion. And that was a kind of a struggle because this could break very easily. So that was an issue we ran into. That's why one of the reasons why when we went to the Falcon V2, we took that out to make it simpler and more robust.
So have you guys considered having 3 hinges on the top? So that way you could better distribute the force?
We never considered that, no.
Okay. But like in terms of mechanics, like would that be a good solution? I'm just spitballing here. I don't know.
I don't think I'm quite following what you mean by the 3 on the top.
Well, like the same way that you have one central hinge that causes a side-to-side rotation, if you had 2 other hinges that look the same as when into locking position on this side, and then if you pull the other way, a linkage on the other side.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's a really interesting idea. That's would definitely make it a lot stouter. Yeah.
Would you still be able to get all degrees of motion with those 3 hinges though? Or the 3 swivel points, I guess you could say, because really with one swivel point, it really, I mean, predominantly with one swivel, with one hold.
I think you would lose a little bit of motion, but if you're just trying to disengage a ratchet, then you don't need to move that much.
True. I guess.
One of the things Gloria just suggested, she just had to step out, but she was saying maybe using a flexi hinge there instead of a single point hinge. Maybe that could help. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's not a good idea. And so I think we covered everything that we want to talk about.
Okay. Do you want to talk a bit about? I guess I'll say. So one of the things I think will be important for all you guys this summer, we want to have kind of like formalized documentation at the end of the summer, and it's actually a good idea to start that now. So I would encourage each of you to try to think about writing out what are the and things will change over the summer as your design goals and as your successes come and go. You want to start writing out 1 or 2 sentences, maybe a paragraph here or there, what are the actual design challenges you're trying to solve, the specific ones, and maybe the approach you're trying to take, and try to really document things as you go, photograph them, and probably a lot of you guys are already doing that, but I just want to emphasize it there, and we're going to try to do that as well and try to post it on the community.
Yep, that sounds good.
Yep. And so I don't know how useful this would be, but like, what's your guys' opinion on having like a GradCAD project where like we kind of upload our STPs and then we could all take a look at it and edit it just to solicit feedback or try to find a better way to design what we're trying to make.
Fusion 360 can do that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't tried that out, but I know it's pretty well integrated with file sharing.
Yeah, it all runs on the cloud.
Yeah, and so because we're all using Fusion, I think it would be best, like you guys said, to use a Fusion 360 project like that.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, so maybe that'll be one thing that you guys can all look into. I mean, it'll be hard to agree to something now. You're definitely going to do. We got to try it out first. But that's something you guys want to try over this next week, and then maybe Akil can add it to the agenda for next week. You guys can talk about what you liked about it, what you didn't.
Sure.
I think with us especially, Dr. Z has said that we're not releasing the files to the end of the summer. That's kind of the fellowship documentation and stuff that we have here. So our files, I mean, our plan was just to keep releasing photos and stuff like that and go off that. But as far as the files go, I think that we're just keeping them with us. We keep prototyping them and stuff like that till the end of the summer.
Okay.
Okay, that sounds great. And so you want to remind everybody about how to like editing the agenda for next week, or have a row agenda?
Yeah. So like, I just want to reiterate, we're gonna have an agenda for next week. I'll post in advance just like a rough outline of what I want to say, and then you guys can you please add what you want to talk about, and so we can all have a document so that everyone knows what everyone's going to be talking about ahead of the meeting, and then it'll give us more time to ask more specific, focused questions, which will improve all of our projects.
And usually what we would do for the e-NABLE meetings where we're doing the Hangouts is we would take turns kind of taking notes. So if Akil is usually taking the notes, then when he's talking, if someone else can jump on and take notes while he's talking, then the agenda becomes the note-taking document for the Hangout, and then we post that along with the Hangout video, and it's a kind of complete record of everything that we talked about.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. Well, like I think we covered everything here. Are there any other questions, comments, anything anyone else wants to add?
Nothing here.
All right. Well, in that case, I'll see you guys next week at the same time.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Have a good week.
See ya.
Bye.